Green light, go, go, go.
Hello, good evening everyone, and welcome to Race Club on a Tuesday night. We are now already at round 10, so we are looking forward to this season building to its climax. We've had 9 races already, and those of you that joined us last week will have seen the very first GT4 race, which produced some exciting racing, and in fact the second race wasn't decided until the final corner. So if you want to dive down and have a look through Race Club's video playlist, you will find that one, so that's you will find a great watch. We're a little bit shy of drivers tonight of our normal numbers because of obviously we're into the holiday season, but we've still got most of our top end drivers in the series, so we are missing Donardi, who's currently running second in the championship. So we expect him to be back, I believe, next week when we get off to Silverstone in the wet, which is going to be a new one for us here at Race Club. I'm going to be your commentator tonight. I'm Trevor Rolfe. Hopefully I will provide a little bit of entertainment for you, and if you could reciprocate by dropping some comments into the YouTube live chat below, I will do my utmost to respond to you, as I'm being director, producer, commentator and everything else. Obviously, I'm sure you appreciate, with great respect, I am trying to do multiple things at once, and that can produce ums and ahs like you're getting now. Just to talk about where we're at with the track, for those of you that don't know this track, we are at Kyalami in South Africa. This is a track which was originally opened in 1961 and used for Formula One. It was a much different layout to what we have today, and stayed fairly much on the Formula One championship until the mid-80s, when, due to South Africa's apartheid issues, and just on screen there, Chris V Dub getting the rear end of that Porsche 911, his very sideways there, as he went round Sunset. He's just trying to scrub some heat back into those tyres by the look of it. Yeah, it dropped off the calendar in the mid-80s, but returned in the early 90s, but then was dropped again towards the mid-90s. But rumour has it, Formula One is going to be back at Kyalami from next season, which takes, I think, the number of races up to 24. So it is now quite a modern facility. Like I say, it was a much different layout. It's been compacted now because, a bit like Zandvoort, some of the track was sold off for development, for housing. Oh, Chris V Dub getting it all sideways again, but doing a fantastic job of collecting up there. Just to remind you of what our race format is tonight, we have got 2 races for you. The first one is our semi-endurance race, which is 40 minutes. And then we've got another qualifying for our second race, which will be a little 20-minute sprint race. So this qualifying session will be just 10 minutes long. So we are just waiting for drivers to start dropping their times in, and just as I was about to predict, it was going to be in the low 140s, and a Nun in the Mercedes, he has just put in the first time lapped, which is one which has gone round without actually exceeding track limits, and he has done a 1:43.8, so that is the marker. One of the drivers I'm expecting to be extremely quick is one of our guest drivers, who is Lager, and I think he's just coming up to start his lap, and I'll tell you what we'll do, as I know this guy is going to be quick, we will hop on board. So this is the first corner, this is Crowthorne. So then we go through a couple of quick little curves there up to Barbecue, and then we're going to go around this. Now we've got a bit of a straight here, with quite a tricky corner at the end of this. It's a mid-speed one. I'd imagine that Lager's going to drop back possibly to third, maybe midway, or can he hang on to fourth? He can hang on to fourth, and quite appropriately with that sun in the distance, it is actually called sunset this corner. And then he's up round to Clubhouse. Little short square here, then down to the S's. And this track falls away from you as you go round the left here and then round the right. And then heading up towards the final part of the circuit as he gets up to Lukop. Hard on the brakes there, down to possibly first gear. Yep, we're down to first there. And then it's a great run down the hill here through Mineshaft. And then we're into what I can only call as the animal section, because the first right-hander here is called Crocodiles. This one is quite slow, down to second, might be first. Yeah, it is first. And then we're to Cheetah. And this one is one that can really catch you out, because if you get too tight on the inside there, that curb will pick you up and spit you off to that barrier on the left. And then we're down here to the final left-hander, which is Ingui, and that completes the lap. So I am expecting a quick lap here. It's a 1:48 first time round, 1:43.2, and that's currently put him in second place. So let's just go back to our previous view. You can tell I've been off for a week because I'm pressing all the wrong buttons here. There we go. Let's just go to the trackside view, which is what we wanted to do in the first place, and we will return to the garage. So there we go. So our current run at the moment, Brownster, another one I would describe as semi-guest driver. He did a couple of 3 races at the start of the season, but had technical problems with his rig. And so he's been away for a little while, but it's great to see him back. So Brownster's the quickest at the moment. Oh, someone off in the weeds there. I think that might be Rusty. Oh, sorry, that's Marge. I do apologise, Rusty. So Lager's just 0.3 off at the moment. Bazix is third. And the one who is out of sorts at the minute and just coming down to complete his lap is Chicken Paxo, because he's currently leading the championship, and we've got just over 2.5 minutes remaining, and he hasn't put a lap time in yet. So he's coming up to the line, and he's still, oh yes, he has, he crossed the line there. Oh, and it's a quick one as well. He's just 0.04 of a second off the Brownster, so it's really tight at the front. The first 2 rows are just 0.3 of a second apart, so this one is too close for even me to call. So who else is likely to put a quick time in? Who's out of place at the moment? DB Kung seems a little bit low. He's in the Ferrari, has put in some stunning lap times. Quite often has built up to a good time through the session. Oh, and unfortunately, it looks like he's going to come up on the back of Chris V-Dub, who has pulled across to let him through. No, he hasn't. He's just getting back up to speed. So we've got just under 2 minutes remaining. So most drivers will be able to complete this lap and do one more. Chris V-Dub moves over there for DB Kung. Not seen any changes at the front of the motor. Oh, I think Bazik's actually nipped in front of Lager there. I'm going to do my utmost tonight not to say the second part of Lager's name. I will really work on that one. Try and keep us on the right side of the YouTube authorities. So DB Kung just coming down towards the latter part of the track, through Crocodile, down to Cheetah. So this is so easy to get that one wrong and just lighten the car by bouncing over that inside sleeping policeman. So here we go, up to the line. He's 1.3 off pole at the moment, and he remains 1.3 off pole, because what I hadn't noticed is Bazix has gone through to first place there. Or have I not kept up? I can't remember. They are so close together. No, I think, yes, Bazix has gone quicker there, yes, so he's on a 1:42.8. So that has demoted the Brownster there, and Lager is somebody I'm thinking who's very much out of place. And coming to join the party in the Bentley is Banff. So that's Bazik's teammate, and he's only 0.4 off pole. So you can see what a tight battle we've got on tonight as the clock ticks down towards 0 with just 5 seconds to go. We are going to have such a tight race at the front tonight, assuming everybody gets round the first corner. The only one that hasn't put a time in at the moment is Marge in the McLaren, and that's a surprise because Marge in the GT4 race we had at Hungary last week was up there at the front end of the grid. So looks like moving back to the GT3s hasn't worked for Marge so far, but he's coming towards the end of the lap. He's just got 2 corners to go. So can he put it onto oh, and that's exactly what I was describing. That inside curve there can really spit you out, but it looks like he might just get away with it, so he should get a time in. I don't expect him to go any higher than 8th, but he's heading towards the finishing line. Has he got himself a time in this time? Yes, no, he hasn't. He's crossed the finishing line though. So Bazix has finished. Brownster's in the pit. So the only one I can see doing anything is Chicken Paxo, who has done something. Look at that time, a 1:42.510. He's gone 0.3 of a second quicker than anybody else. Now I really didn't see that one coming. That was absolutely incredible, but it's not over quite yet because Lager is still out there and he's coming down to the final left-hander. Can he pull it off? He's trying to drag that. No, he isn't. He's pulling it over to the side. So that is a turn up for the books, but that is your grid. So Chicken Paxo on the front row with Bazix alongside him, and then in the second row we've got Brownster with Banff alongside, and then surprisingly we've got Lager on row 5 and DB Kung, are early in the season Polmeister. He's alongside on the third row, and Nun in 7th alongside Chris V Dub, and then in row 5 we've got Rusty GT with Marge in the McLaren alongside. So that is your grid for race 1, which is a 40-minute race, lights to flag, and there's no commitment to make a pit stop. In fact, if you make the pit stop, you've probably, to be fair, had a problem, got it wrong, or invited yourself into the tyre wall. So that's going to mean it is really completely a lights to flag race, so it does tend to make it quite intense. And just to remind you, after this one is finished, we've got another quick 10-minute qualifying and then a 20-minute race after that. So it'll be interesting to see once we get into the race whether Chicken Paxo can maintain that pace difference to the rest of the field, because if he has, he will be clearing off. And 2 rounds ago at Spa we saw Lager do exactly that, and just I think he had about half second of the lap advantage, and just he was cleared off and gone. So we will have a sighting lap starting in 1:50, just for the drivers to get their eye in and try and get some temperature into those tyres. Just looking down the list to see who I can think maybe will come through. I imagine Naga might come through. He's currently sat 3rd of the Bentleys, which is a surprise. Or he may be playing the team game, because I know he does a lot of testing with Bazix and Banff. So there may be a little bit of team games going on here. I'm not going to make any too in-depth comments on that, because I've had my collar felt in the past when I have suggested that, so I will leave that up to you at home to decide on that one. I'm just going to have a quick look, because I can see we've got some comments coming in on the Yubi-Dubi. Oh, Donardi's out there. He's currently sat at his parents' house feeling grim. Well, I'm not sure how grim feels about that, but I'll send you all my best wishes. So I'd like to hear from Donardi who he thinks is going to win the race tonight, because obviously with the championship we've got, it could be quite important when my system decides to tell me
30 seconds.
What all the other comments are, which it doesn't at the moment. And we've got just 30 seconds to go before lights go out, and there will be, this is not a grid start from this point. It will be a one warm-up lap. Oh, and we've got Roll, who is wishing everyone good luck. who is, I'm going to get it wrong, DB Kung. Or a Nun, one of the two. Sorry, I do apologise. My memory is horrible. I'm just getting old, I'm afraid. Oh, Donardi. Donardi is backing Chicken Paxo. But he says the top 5 or 6 have a great deal of good candidates, and I completely agree, because I think Rollers and Nun. I had a 50-50 chance of getting it right, and I had the wrong 50, but story of my life, that one. I agree with Donardi in the YouTube chat there that I think this could be extremely tight between the top 6, because there's some, maybe 7 really. There's some really good and quick drivers up there, and we know some of them can show better consistent race pace than what they can show on an individual lap. So it's all about plugging those times in on a regular basis. So I'm not sure that Race Club have done much racing here in the past. It would help if I got to the right point. I will have to sort that out as they cross the start line. I do apologise. We'll have it. While I was chatting away there, I didn't reset the screen, so we will sort that one out for you before we get to the first corner. Oh, we've got a busy chat tonight. Yeah, and Donardi is making a very good point as well on the YouTube chat there, that tyre wear will start to come in towards the end of this 40-minute race. These tyres generally are good for about an hour's worth of racing, so effectively we're getting sort of 2/3 of the way into the race there, and we saw that at Hungary last week, where Stormfly, who's not with us tonight, managed to catch the leader, overtake, and then fell back again, and it just seemed to be how the tyres were getting used over that period of time. So that is another factor to come in. Fuel shouldn't come in as a factor, because they've got plenty of fuel to run this race. The only errors we had were at the start of the season, when a few drivers didn't put enough fuel in, which is obviously a slightly embarrassing situation. But hopefully they've now worked out how much they need to do a 25-minute session. Let's see whether we can go back to the garage. No, we can't. We will keep on that one for a second then. And so fuel shouldn't be an issue there. Interesting to see Chris V Dub there in the green 911, working hard at warming his tyres up. Drivers are now getting themselves lined up side by side. Have a maximum speed of 70 kilometers an hour. If they exceed that when the lights go out, they will get a very expensive drive-through penalty. So I am sure that they don't want to do that. I know the camera is focusing on the Bentley at the moment, but we will be moving to a different camera in a second. Here we go, all 10 cars around. Here we go. We're waiting for the lights to go green.
Green light. Give it
and Race Club is go for round 10 at South Africa. So here we go, down to turn 1. It all looks very side by side at the moment. Nobody getting too much left behind. Chicken Paxo down the inside as they are getting towards first corner. Lager taking possibly a bit of a lunge there at first corner. No, they're all through neatly. It looks like everyone's got through roughly in the same way that they actually qualified. So we are off and away. So Chicken Paxo was on pole, and he's away in first at the moment. Bazak second, Brownster third, Banff in fourth, and Lager in fifth. So these 5 are already making a little bit of a gap by the look of it. Look like DB Kung is... No, DB Kung is keeping up there. Now, be interested to see whether Lager is working as wingman for Team Bentley in front of him. I don't know if he is or isn't, but he could be defending from the rear at the moment. So let's head back up the front, and it looks like Chicken Paxo is reflecting the pace that he had in qualifying, because he's already pulled a 0.6 gap on Bazak's in the blue and yellow Bentley there. And if anything, it was looking a little bit like Brownster was under pressure there as they went to the up to the top of the circuit there. But now Brownster being in the yellow McLaren, third of the cars on your screen. Oh, and somebody's gone off at the back there. I think it was Lager. Oh, we've had it coming together there. Lager's off. I can't see who the other car is as well at the moment. Who else was in that area? I think, yeah, Nun was the other one. So, oh no, it's Nun is off there. Marge is off there. Lager is returning to the pits. Looks like he's got damage. So, things have got turned upside down. Oh, looks like he's got serious damage there because he was having trouble turning it to get it into the pit lane. So, the Bentley drivers have lost the wingman there. So, I think our core battle here is going to be for that second, third and fourth place, because it looks like Chicken Paxo is exiting and off up the road, and he's generally a fairly consistent driver, so he should be able to keep that one on the island. Oh, and talk about keeping it on the island there. Brownster was a bit wide there. He's the yellow car in amongst the other three yellow cars. You would think the race clubbers could come up with a slight variance of palette, couldn't you? Without the commentator out, just to make a note there. But Brownster there looking in the McLaren like he is coming under pressure a little bit from Banff there. They do seem to have fallen away a little bit from Bazux. But these four are running pretty much line astern at the moment. We're just going to switch briefly to a different camera shot. So, Nun is in the pit, so he obviously picked up damage. Lager has got away again, so but he's quite a way back at the moment. Oh, and it looks like somebody else is having a bit of a moment. Rusty GT. Crocodile is definitely catching out these drivers. I don't know whether he's going to have to return to the pits for damage. No, he's carrying on by. So be interesting to see how far Lager can get himself back up the field there, because at the moment, where is he? He's right at the top end there, and the next one down is Marge, who, hang on, we're just going to get a time gap between two, 28 seconds behind. That's going to be a big ask. We've probably got about 20 laps left, so that's going to be a big ask for Lager, but other drivers can have a few dramas, of course. So let's just hop back up the front, and as we do, Chicken Paxo's gone all agricultural, running wide, and he's got completely sideways there as well, coming through the S's. So has his early pace taken too much out of those tyres, because Bazut has wound him in like a fisherman pulling in the catch of the day. And look at that, Bazux is now right on the rear bumper of that red and yellow Audi. So this is suddenly livened things up, and in the background I can see DB Kung has caught this battle for first, second, third and fourth. So that's now a line of 5 cars there, all within just on a second. So this is where the action is at, right at the front, where Bazux is now... Oh, and Chicken Paxo's gone wide there. He's gone all rallycross. He's down the inside as they head towards the last corner, but Bazux has swept around the outside. Fantastic move there. But Chicken Paxo looks like he's got a good exit. He's got a good run. Bazux is going defensive as they head through the kink down towards Crowthorne. Bazux is trying to elbow Chicken Paxo all the way out the way. He forced him into the pit lane there, but Bazux is standing his ground firm there, and he keeps Chicken Paxo in second. And in the background you can see that Brownster is catching up at a rapid pace. So this is now a 3-way battle for the lead. In fact, it's very soon going to be a 4-way battle, because Banff is on his way as well. So Chicken Paxo, lights ablaze, chasing down the blue and yellow Bentley in front of him, but he's going to need to keep an eye on his rear view mirrors, because, oh, and there we go, Brownster's gone wide there. He's gone all gravelly, and DB Kung, look at that, he's taking advantage, so he's through. So it's all turning on its head almost every lap. So we've got now Bazux leading, as we know, with Chicken Paxo right on his back bumper. But the Brownster is now dropped, I believe, down to 5th. We were fine when they go across the next timing sector. Yeah, the Brownster's down to 5th. And that means that Banff is up to 3rd. So Bentley's 1st and 3rd at the moment. And DB Kung is up to 4th. So let's have a look at riders, runners and riders a little bit further down. So Chris V Dub, who always gets everyone's admiration because he uses a hand controller, and I believe generally on a mobile data connection, so this is always impressive. And he's only 6 or so seconds, as I compliment him, he goes wide at the last corner, but he really isn't too far back. He's about 7 seconds off that leading pack. And then we've got Rusty GT in the Ferrari, who had that little bit of an adventure earlier and has just had another adventure there. So the front of that Ferrari looks like it's had a bit of shot blasting, so I don't think he's going to get his deposit back on the hire company. So Marge is currently running in 8th, and interestingly Lager is catching him, so that's going to happen fairly quickly there. And just looking at the YouTube chat, Denali is commenting that Chris V Dub is driving live from the cab of his Volvo truck, which is quite impressive. So let's hop back up the front. So Bazak seems to be stretching very minutely that gap between himself and Chicken Paxo, and Chicken Paxo did sort of fight back fairly quickly and fairly strongly, but wasn't able to regain that place, and now he's got a bit of a gap forming somewhere around about 3/4 of a second. But the one that looks like he's making a comeback is the Brownster in the bright yellow McLaren there at the back of this pack, because he, after his little adventure across the gravel, he's now right on the back of DB Kung here, but then he looks like he's maybe going wide there. No, he's managed to pull it back in. So I think this is probably where our next little... Oh! And just as I complimented the driving of Brownster there, the commentator's curse is powerful in me tonight. And look at that in the background. Chris V Dub is going to be right on Brownster's case, because Brownster, just that last corner there, just a bit too much throttle coming out, and the back came round on him. So where have we got it livening up now? Because this has reduced our front pack from 5 to 4. So, and it actually looks like it's splitting into 2 little packs here, because Bazak's in the lead there in the first of the Bentleys, is pulling Chicken Paxo with him in that red and yellow Audi, because, oh, look at this, it looks like Banff has made a mistake, and DB Kung is down the inside as they go to the S's. Can he make it stick on the second part? Yes, he's got the move done. Fantastic stuff. I did notice that Donardi in the chat was commentating that DB Kung was building up to this, and he's certainly doing well here, picking them off one by one. So I think he was 6th, then he was 5th, then he was 4th, and now he is 3rd. So he's got 1 foot on the podium. And just one driver I haven't mentioned, because he's parked up in the pits, I think after that first lap incident, is a Nun. So unfortunately he's not running at the moment, but I expect him to be back in the second race. So that was an action-packed first 10 minutes, wasn't it? Oh, and it's still continuing, because that is Banff getting it all wrong over, I think, what Denardi's described as the murder curb, which fires you off into the distance, and he went wide across the gravel and has now lost best part of 2 seconds to DB Kung in the Ferrari. So he's just making himself a bit of hard work here. So let's have a look at what have we got that's possibly developing. We know that Lager has got by Marge, so he's back up to 8th, but he is 18 seconds down the road from Rusty GT. So, but Chris V Dub is not that far in front of, sorry, no, I got that wrong. So Rusty GT is quite a little way behind Chris V Dub, actually. So I think Lager, you know, depends on the mistakes of the ones in front of him, but he might possibly catch Rusty, but I don't see him catching anybody further than that, so he might get himself up to 7th. And let's be honest, for those in the know, Lager was one of those drivers who was very much a pre-race favourite, but it hasn't sort of become the case. So let's hop back up the front and let the cameraman catch up. Yep, there's a car. It's the red and yellow thing on the track. Well done. Now, can Chicken Paxo do anything about Bazix? Because Chicken Paxo was pulling away at the start, all looking neat and tidy, then had a real scrappy lap or two, and when had the back end sliding out and then was running across the gravel and so on. But now seems to have settled down. He's got the gap to Bazix in front of him in that yellow Bentley down to under a second. So maybe he's got himself straightened out and he's going to start winding him back in again. This is, I think, the main battle we've got at the moment. I'm having a look back. Oh, unfortunately, Marge has gone to the pit, so I don't know if that's because he picked up some damage. That's unfortunate. Hopefully he will rejoin once he's got his car sorted out. So let's have a quick look what other developments we got. We know Brownster in 5th after that mistake has dropped quite a way back from Banff. He's now 7 seconds behind, so I don't see him bridging that gap. And then Chris V Dub is 6 seconds behind him. So I would imagine the lap times I would predict these two guys are putting in. I think the Brownster in 5th will be pulling away a little bit from Chris V Dub. So those two, I think, will sit fairly much in no man's land. And so they will be stuck there in 5th and 6th, relying on someone in front of them having a mistake. And then further down, Marge has rejoined the race. That's great to see. In 9th place. Lager is only 11 seconds now behind Rusty. So I think that's one that Lager might be able to overhaul that. So might be able to get himself back up to 7th, which, considering at the end of the first lap he was in the gravel trap and then in the pits, I think that will be quite a great recovery there. So here we go into another lap, 8 laps down. We've got Chicken Paxo just stuck at that 0.8 of a second behind Bazix. Both of these drivers are being really, really consistent. I don't see that DB Cook, unless these two have it coming together, is particularly going to catch these two. I know if you're watching the chat, Donardi is saying that when DB Cook gets in the groove, he is outstanding, and I don't disagree with that, but I think he's going to need to find a deeper groove to catch these two at the moment, because the gap seems to be in that sort of 4 to 5 second between Chicken Paxo in 2nd and DB Cook in 3rd, so I don't see him recovering that at the moment. So in fact, behind these two, it looks, unless there's a mistake, it's all going to be fairly stable. So I can see some comments in the it looks like a nun who is in the pits has had a failure with his rig, so hopefully he's sorting that one out. It looks like he was the one that crashed into Lager, so that's where the problem happened there. So another rig failure there. That we had that earlier in the season with Brownster, when he's, I think, a complete part of his brake pedal system broke off. So this gap at the lead between Bazix in 1st and Chicken Paxo in 2nd is coming down. It's down to less than 0.6 of a second. So Chicken Paxo definitely seems like he is working his way back up onto the rear of that Bentley in front of him. Just to remind you, Chicken Paxo is currently leading the championship. Off the top of my head, I think Bazix is in 3rd or 4th. So I'm not multitasking tremendously at the moment, because I'm trying to keep the eye on the racing and on YouTube. So I'm just looking to know he's put another comment. Yeah, I would agree with that. He's saying that what Chicken Paxo needs to do, and he could of course be listening, and of course one of the critical things, as you just noticed there, that Chicken Paxo actually went off the track. He needs to keep it on the track, and that's the grey bit between the two green bits. He needs to get really close, probably at this section here. So as he shoots down the hill through Mineshaft, that he's actually right on the tail of Bazux, so he can look to do a manoeuvre into turn one, which is the most obvious overtaking point, unless the driver in front of you is making a mistake. But it does seem extremely tight between these two. No call given lap after lap. They must be lapping within 0.2, 0.3 of each other every lap, which is remarkable consistency. So here we go, up to the finishing line. The gap's 0.7 at the moment. It's now 0.5. So Chicken Paxo does seem to close up a little bit in that last sector, but it needs to be 0.1, 0.2 of a gap as he exits that last sector, not half a second, because that's just too big a bridge for him to cross when Bazux is driving as well as he is. So let's have a look, see if we can have a quick whiz through the field, because that generally guarantees we'll get action somewhere along the line. So DB Kung, who is neatly slotted his way from 6th up to 3rd, did a great job, because he was just working neatly on everyone else in front of him, making mistakes and so on, and he's just kept it nice and tidy, worked his way through, and sitting up there now on the podium. So just behind him is Banff, who made that little mistake earlier on, which allowed DB Kung to get by. And talking of mistakes, here comes the Brownster, who was an Owen driver who was extremely quick, but did make that mistake where he just spun at the last corner, and he did run wide a little bit before that. So just a couple of mistakes creeping in there for the Brownster, which we're not totally used to seeing that. And then Chris V Dub, he's there in 6th, got quite a nice gap in front of him and behind him, so he's not likely to come under too much pressure. Going a little bit wide there with the apex, but still pumping in those lap times and getting the job done. Rusty GT, is now under pressure actually. When the cameraman catches up, there we go. It's not complicated, it's the big movie metal things on the track. So Rusty has, by the looks of it, made a little mistake, because there was quite a gap from Rusty back to Lager, but it's now, as you can see, just 1.6 of a second. So I think what we're going to do is take a brave pill, and we are going to go on board with Lager to see what he's going to do about that car in front of him. So Denardi was mentioning about how you need... And it all happened in the heartbeat, and that sleeping policeman on the inside of the corner there was enough to sort out that little battle, because unfortunately Rusty GT went across that curb, launched himself. Obviously once you're in the air you're not going to get any grip for turning, and he just skittled across the gravel, and Lager didn't need inviting twice. So I think Lager's got quite a gap to Chris V Dub, so it's not impossible, but I think, let's have a look. We will get a time on it through this sector, but it's, and we've lost a nun, so we're down to 9 unfortunately. Let's see if we had any reports. And maybe, hopefully he's come off to just to reset and rejoin. So Chris V Dub, so yeah, it's 24 seconds from Chris V Dub in 6th back to Lager in 7th. So unless Chris makes a monumental mistake, I don't see Lager crossing that particular gap. So let's hop back up the front, because of course the commentators cursed, no one screamed at me, but Chicken Paxo has got back by Bazux. So not sure when that happened. It looks like a manoeuvre possibly rather than a significant mistake from Bazux, because Bazux is still only 0.6 of a second behind, so that was always the risk of moving around the field. So I do apologise to all you watching at home. So Chicken Paxo gets himself organised again and gets back into the lead. So can he make a pull away this time from Bazix? He was in this position about 20 minutes ago and then started to make mistakes. So he just needs to be, I would suggest, a little bit more consistent this time. So that was a great overtaking manoeuvre we were hoping to see, and unfortunately I was looking at other overtaking manoeuvres with Lager and Rusty, so I do apologise for that. So I'm just looking to see if anyone's going to get particularly close. Banff is still 3 seconds off DB Kung, and I think that gap's been fairly similar. So I don't see that one developing, so we might be steady for the next quarter of an hour. But of course, just like Bazix there going across the grass and a little bit onto the gravel, drivers can make mistakes, so we just need to keep an eye on everybody. And Banff in 4th, looks like he is possibly catching, slowly but surely, DB Kung in 3rd, so the podium may not be settled yet. So Lager I don't see catching. Those from 6th downwards, due to pit stops and so on, I don't see them, those positions changing, but we could get some interesting developments happening further up, because they're all reasonably close together, so it wouldn't take a big mistake for someone to just run wide, just not catch up with how worn the tyres are getting and so on, and make a mistake, and that car that's just behind you will be through and off into the distance. So here we go, heading round towards completing another lap. With the time we've got, I reckon we've got probably about another 9 laps of this race, depending on where the cars exactly are when the time runs out. Actually, it looks like Chicken Paxo was putting a little bit of a gap. They got the gap to over a second, but then in that middle sector, Bazix wound it back down again to 0.7. So it is ebbing and flowing between these two. And we do have a lap car just in front of them coming into play. So that could work to the advantage of one or other of them. So let's see what the gap is as they get to the end of the lap. Marge running wide there, so that takes Marge out of the factors between the leading two, and the gap is still up around a second. So DB Kung seems a fairly steady 6-7 seconds behind, so I don't see that he's going to come forward. So do we risk moving to anybody else? So DB Kung doing well. I think he's running about 6th or 7th in the championship. I haven't got this week's results for you, or the results after the GT4 race at Hungaroring that we had last week, so I do apologise for that. I do know the top 2, it's just the rest that I'm slightly unsure about. So Banff is running a steady 3 seconds behind DB Kung, so I don't see that that's going to change. This top 5 really is all very reliant on the car in front of them making a mistake, because they've not got massive gaps between them, but they're not gaps that I think they can bridge with a differential in performance between the cars. So it's very much down to thinking the car in front of them might make a mistake, which of course, as Denali pointed out to us earlier, it could happen, because tyre wear is something that's going to come into play. They've been driving on these tyres now for just over 25 minutes, so they've got just sort of 14 minutes or so to run on them, and they were just, it's not impossible, particularly that last but one corner with that sleeping policeman on the inside. It's very easy to get caught out, because you turn in and it just doesn't turn in quite as you expect, and before you know it, you're on a different part of the circuit and you're over the sleeping policeman, or you're being fired into the gravel. So it can catch you out. So just hopping back up to the front with the leading two there disappearing off. Chicken Paxo now is putting some air between himself and Basics. He's got the gap, it seems to be consistently over a second. So Basics will just be relying probably at the moment that Chicken Paxo in front of him is just going to make a little mistake. And with the curbs around here, it's not impossible. And of course, the other thing that could come into play is track limits, because there are a couple of areas on this track where you can get caught out by the system deciding you've taken slightly too many liberties, and you get three of those like as jokers for free, and on the fourth one you'll get, I think it's a drive-through penalty. So they just need to be a little bit careful on that. And it's coming down to this corner here. This is the one that could catch him out, with the curb of doom on the inside. I am really amazed how consistent these two are. I know there's been, well, we've seen mistakes from Chicken Paxo, but not big ones. But, you know, we're 28 minutes into the race and there's 0.6 of a second between them. That's absolutely nothing. That's closer than Formula One, than MotoGP. It's absolutely incredible, the level of these drivers up at the front end here. So just to remind you, this is Race Club Season 5. We are just over 3/4 of the way through, and so this is round 10. There's 12 rounds in total. The next round will be another double header. That will be at Silverstone. That will be next week, and that is a 20 and a 40-minute race again. And then the final race is a 2-hour endurance at Bathurst. And as we know, with those walls over the top of that Bathurst circuit, that can catch people out and does cause significant problems with people. So that is one not to miss. So if you like what you hear, I'm Trevor Rolfe. Hope you're enjoying the commentary. Press that like and subscribe button to give us a little bit of a boost. That will be appreciated. And of course, you'll then get reminders of when we come online, and that's usually on a Tuesday night. And of course, the other thing is, if you like the look of the racing that you're watching and you'd like to get involved, get on to Facebook, look up Race Club UK and join the Facebook group. And we've had a couple of new members in the last week or so who are looking to join the series, because as this season expires, we will have a new season coming along just afterwards. And you say hello to the guys, they'll get you into the group chats, and you can find out all about the racing and how to join in with what we get up to. So it just looks like we're getting some comments on YouTube. And oh dear, technical issues here, I pressed all the wrong buttons. So I think I just need me live chat to catch up again, so just bear with me, because it's telling me I've got lots of new comments. I'm not saying them, but we will. Oh dear, we'll come. Just comments from Donardi's commenting the brilliant drive by the top two, which I totally agree. And Donardi says he should be back for Bathurst. So with the championship points, drivers will drop their two lowest points. So I think at the moment, I don't think Chicken Paxo has actually dropped any points, so he has some to drop. But I think this means Donardi, and I'm sure he's about to tell me if I'm right or wrong, will have missed 3 rounds. So that is probably going to swing the championship advantage into Chicken Paxo's direction. So just looking at gaps down the field, don't see anything dramatic happening, apart from I noticed that Banff has taken a second out of the gap between himself there and the yellow and blue Bentley to the dark blue Ferrari just going out the bottom of your screen there. Mind you, he's now taking a slightly scenic route. I've just been nudged by Denali in the chat, is that Bathurst is quadruple points. Oh, hello! Getting distracted by that. It looks like DB Kung has caught up with... Sorry, Bamford's caught up with DB Kung, and they're going side by side. That's the blue and yellow car is Banff, the blue Ferrari is DB Kung. Who's going to be bravest of the brave on the brakes? Can the Bentley go right round the outside? No, they've come together. They've had a little bit of a half spin there. I think that was probably down more to DB Kung than to Banff. So, but in the background, it means that Brownster, when the cameraman catches up, has now got a chance to catch DB Kung, who is now, ignore the totem pole on the left at the moment, that will catch up in a few hundred yards. But Brownster is now on the back bumper of the blue Ferrari of DB Kung, and as DB Kung picked up some damage from that little incident there. It looked like DB Kung was trying to defend that down the inside, but unfortunately seemed to understeer into Banff there, making them both sort of turn 90 degrees. So stewards may have a look at that one, but I think ultimately on my guesstimate that fell in, the responsibility of that one fell in the lap of DB Kung, so Banff didn't need to wait because he caused an incident. That's just my reading. I'm not a steward, I'm just a commentator who sits here and talks a lot, so I'm not going to make any commitment whether I got that right or wrong. But what it has livened up with just 7 minutes of this race to go is we've got the Brownster, who we know is a quick driver, right on the back bumper of that blue Ferrari in front of him. So I think we're going to go for a on-track view, and I've gone to the wrong driver, so I do apologise. I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll have a look back. How about that for a view? So here we go, down the main straight, around the right-hand kink. The gap DB Kung did, yeah, that cost him about 9 seconds out of that. Brownster's about 0.8 of a second behind. Now, Brownster hadn't overly been catching. He obviously had that little incident earlier on where he had that little half spin at the last corner. So I don't think he particularly would have caught up any damage there. But it doesn't look like, to me, I'm only looking at it visually, that Brownster is particularly coming at ourselves there, riding on board with DB Kung, because I thought he might be right onto his back bumper. Just under 6 minutes of this race remaining, so that's going to be, I would guesstimate, it's going to be 3, possibly 4 laps, depends when the leaders cross the line. So Chicken Paxo still leads with Bazzard second, and obviously Banff is now up into third. So we'll just go back to our trackside cameras. So there we go, down through Mine Shaft. It looks like Brownster's got that gap down to about 0.6, but he's also going to need to get a little bit closer. Oh, and I've had information from somebody's... Oh, I'm going to come back to that information in a minute, because DB Kung's all over the dirt again, and it looks like Brownster's trying to go around the outside. Couldn't quite do it, gave DB Kung a little bit of a nudge, but he's right under the back bumper of that blue Ferrari, and the DB Kung's trying to go left and right to shake off the aerodynamic boost he's giving to Brownster behind him. Brownster saw a bit of a dummy there. He went to the, it looked like he was going to the inside. Oh, and we've got a repeat performance there. It looked like Brownster was trying to go around the outside there. DB Kung defending the inside, and it looked to me a bit of a repeat of the previous incident. So I don't know whether DB Kung is going to let Brownster by, because it looked like Brownster had fairly well got the move done there. He was going to go around the outside of at Crowthorne, but DB Kung was hanging on to the position. So I don't know whether DB Kung is taking it steady to let Brownster by. It looks like he might be. Brownster's definitely catching up again. We've got just 4 minutes remaining. Let's have a quick look, see where the leaders are. Chicken Paxo there is working his way down towards the end. So I think we're actually going to have 3 laps by the look of it. Depends whether he gets across the line with 3 minutes 30, yes he is. But he's got nearly a 2-second gap now on Bazux. So that's... Yes, so we're going to have, I believe, 3 more laps. So, but Bazux is now 1.6 seconds behind Chicken Paxo in the lead. So I think that's probably done for the front end there. So well, Brownster's showing as in front of DB Kung. So I don't know whether he let him have the place back, but has now managed to retake it. So unfortunately, I'm having one of those weeks where I was looking the wrong way. And the thing that Donardi pointed out to me that I hadn't spotted was that Lager was in the pits. Unfortunately, he's now left the session. So we are down to 8 runners and riders. So I don't think that DB Kung is going to let Brownster by here. So this is going to be a race to the flag, and this is the tightest battle we've got on the track at the moment, because Chicken Paxo is now 2 seconds in front of Bazux. So now I don't know if there was contact there, but Brownster is in the gravel, and is he now vulnerable to Chris V Dub? Because I don't know whether he outbraked himself into the back of DB Kung there, because it looked like DB Kung ran wide on the exit of the corner, and it looked like Brownster had touched the back of DB Kung, and just the back end just came round on him there. So Chris V Dub, by the look of it, is quite still some way back, but that really has decided the outcome of that particular little battle, I think, as I just noticed Chicken Paxo's crossed the finishing line, and with the time remaining, he is going to have to do another 2 laps. So things, as often in these 40-minute races, once you just think it's all settled down, it then all livens itself back up again just as we get towards the end of the race. And as Donardi mentioned in the chat earlier, I think tyre wear was a big factor coming into that the changing of the grip over the life cycle of the tyre was catching some of those drivers out. I'll let the stewards decide on those manoeuvres into the first corner involving DB Kung and other drivers, because there was obviously some defence going on there, but whether it was allowing enough space for the other driver, I don't know. I'll let the stewards sort that one out. I just sit here and chat a lot. So looking up at the front though, Chicken Paxo has pulled out quite a significant gap now over Bazux in second place. So whether Bazux has made a mistake, again down to the tyres wearing away, I don't know. But there's now, where there was just on around about a second, it's now 3.6 seconds. So, it's now 5 seconds. So I don't know if Bazux has picked up a problem there. I don't think he's going to come under pressure from Banff in third, because I think he's a little way back. So DB Kung in fourth now has quite a gap over Brownster, because obviously Brownster had that spin up there at Sunset.
Leaders on final lap.
So here we go, with 10 seconds to go, Chicken Paxo's crossed the line to start his final lap. So Chris V Dub pretty safe there in 6th place at the moment in his green 911. Yeah, right a bit, there we go. So don't see him coming under pressure from in front or behind. So looks like we do have, just as I said that, Chris V Dub ran wide there all across the curbs, the gravel and a bit of grass as well, but managed to keep it together. Those tyres are obviously coming towards the end of their life, so he is he's getting the full value out of his 4 corners of tyres there. So I do wonder what's happening with Bazux here, because he's dropping away. I wonder if he's got a fuel problem. So could this play into Banff's hands, because in just 2 laps he's gone from being about a second or so behind to 8.5 seconds now, and we're just coming up, we are on the last lap. So I just wonder if he's just pushed it slightly too much with the fuel. And he doesn't sound that aggressive on the throttle from what I can hear on the car. So I wonder if he's short shifting and all sorts. Yeah, he's now 10.5 seconds back. So whereabouts is Banff? Banff is just coming round the top of the circuit there, down towards Mineshaft. So I think he's going to be all right. We're just going to have a look forward, because here we go. Chicken Paxo crosses the line to win the race. He wins the first race of round 10. In second place, just creeping to the line, I think, on the absolute vapours, is Bazix. So he's managed to make it. He's rolled across the line there. He lost 10 seconds in that last couple of laps. And then Banff comes across the line in third. So the two Bentleys are second and third. DB Kung, after various little adventures with a couple of other drivers, he's ended up fourth. And then the Brownster in the McLaren, he's just coming through after a little bit of agricultural diversion there. He's just coming through the final corner there, so he's going to finish in fifth. Chris V Dub, the man with the hands, he is coming through in sixth place. There we go, just finishing off that lap. Oh, bit Tokyo drift there. Has he got it under control? Yes, he has. So well done there, Chris. So he crosses the line then. And then Rusty GT, bless him, he's had a little bit of a quiet race. A little bit of gravel rash on the front of that Ferrari, but he's coming through in seventh. And then just coming up in eighth, and I think that was mainly down to a longer pit stop we had to have earlier on, is Marge. And we have got a ninth driver for race 2, because Simo is joining us in his Lamborghini, so that's great to see. Oh, and I've just had a message on the YouTube chat from Bazix, who confirmed my guesstimation that he was running out of fuel. So, having said earlier in the part of the race that drivers running out of fuel was an unlikely event because they had learnt from earlier races in the season, obviously I was slightly wrong there, because they are still making a little bit of strategy error. Must be calling on the Ferrari strategy team there for the decisions on what to do during the race. So obviously Ferrari haven't got any problems at all at the moment. I'm just making observations about Ferrari's current performance on the pit wall. So here we go, that's race 1 over and done with. So that was your top, well, let's realistically say top 8. We had Chicken Paxo, Bazix and Banff as our 1, 2, 3. And then followed up by DB Kung, Brownster, Chris V Dub, Rusty GT and then Marge. So don't go anywhere, we've got another race coming up for you very shortly. We've got another quick 10-minute qualifying, which means the drivers have to get out and get on with it. And then we've got a quick 20-minute race. And for those of you that were here for the qualifying on the first race will know that it was all very close and tight in qualifying. I think apart from that last lap that Chicken Paxo put in, the first 5 or 6 were all within about 0.5 of a second a lap. So it is really, really close. So don't go away. Just to remind you, if you want to get involved, you want to become one of the racers we've got on screen, get onto Facebook and look up Race Club UK. Oh, and qualifying's away already, so we're not mucking around tonight. And get onto Facebook, look up Race Club UK, join the group. Really friendly bunch of guys. Post on there you want to get involved, and they'll point you in the right direction with all the chats and so on, and what you have to do to get involved. It's all very simple, it's all very friendly. So please, if you'd like to get involved, jump on board and get racing with Race Club UK. And I myself, Trevor Rolfe, will be commentating on it for you. So here we go, qualifying for the second race of round 10. As I mentioned, just 2 more rounds to go. Silverstone next week, and then Bathurst at the end of the season. Actually, noticing Bathurst is quadruple points. I'm tempted to enter it myself. I think I could end up fairly well in the championship with a good result for one race. Save all the effort on all the other evenings, wouldn't it, during the season? That's not quite the way really to do it, of course, though. We're all about good sportsmanship here at Race Club. So, as I mentioned at the start of my waffle tonight, there is big rumours that Kyalami may be making a comeback to the Formula 1 calendar from 2023. So it'll be interesting to see whether that has any effect on the circuit layout, whether they need to make any adjustments to accommodate the Formula 1 cars. This track has held quite a lot of different races over the years. It's a significantly different circuit from the one that held races in the 60s and 70s, and I mean significantly different. It was, I think it even actually ran the other way. It was that different, and a large chunk of the land was sold off for development, so it's not the circuit that it once was, shall we say. So that's unfair. That's unfair. It's a different circuit to what it once was. Obviously, this is a much more modern facility than what the original track was. Times have changed since, you know, the 1960s track design to what things are nowadays for, you know, spectator enjoyment and for racing and for safety, of course. So let's hope it's a great circuit, and if you ever get a evening, oh hello, looks like Brownster's taken a bit of a scenic route there, so that's his lap pretty much ruined, I'd say. For anyone that follows a race on this that is during the evening, you get, and I don't know if we'll get it now, over to the right there is Johannesburg, and you get a fantastic lit up view across the city there. So it shows just how great and detailed these simulations are nowadays. So that's Crocodile, that's the easier one of the two corners. All Brownster looking a bit loose there again, but this is the one. Look at that big chunky curve on the inside. No, we just missed it, got it absolutely spot on. Down to Uvi, the last corner. Oh, yeah, we just pulled it back to the apex there. Let's see what we can do in the way of lap time. Or did it get... Oh, he did get a lap time, it was a 1:46. Realistically, we're looking about a 1:43 flat for the fastest times. So who have we got coming through? Yeah, at the moment Marge is staying in the pit garage. I'm just going to drop to our trackside cameras. So who else have we got coming up towards the line? I think Chris feeds up. See what he can do. Only got one time in at the moment for comparison. So looks like Chris feeds up. Yeah, he's gone in about a 1:45.5, bouncing the 1:43.5. I imagine the pole time is going to be a little bit quicker than that one. The ones we want to be watching are the ones like, well, we've got Rusty GT coming up to the line. What can he do? No, it looks like he's gone outside the limits there. Bazix, that we know, who was quick in the first race, he's just coming down through the mine shaft. See what he can do. Can he avoid that big yellow catapult on the inside? Yes, he can. So DB Kung's put in a good time there. He's just around the 1:44 flat. Oh, I think Bazix may have just run outside track limits there. Let's see where his time counts. It does actually. No, he was inside the lines, so he is there in second place at the moment, just 0.3. All updated really quickly, because there, Brownster's gone 1:43.0, and it's updated again. Chicken Paxo 1:42.9. So it's coming thick and fast at the moment. Right, while those are all sorting themselves out, so I'm just trying to see who's coming to the line. I think it might be Banff. Let's see if Banff can improve. He's just 0.6 off pole at the moment. Gassing it hard to the finishing line. Can he go any quicker? We've got just 4 minutes of qualifying remaining. He's a little bit quicker, but he's still half a second off pole. We'll just have a quick look at Simo 469. He has just joined us for the second race in the purple and guess what? Yellow, which is obviously the National Race Club colour, because every other car has got it on. Not that I'm complaining, of course, from the commentary box. Oh, and that's a little bit of a scenic route there, I think, for Simo, but I'm sure he will get things together. He's got clear track behind him, so he is just getting his eye in. Obviously, he hasn't been able to... Oh, and there we go, just demonstrating that high curb on the inside. He hasn't been able to get his eye in with the earlier runs. So he's just coming around the last corner, so here we go. So just 3 minutes remaining, so the drivers are going to get 2 laps each. Oh, yeah, 2 laps each in. So Bazek's currently 0.9, and he's gone up a position, he's down to 0.5. So, oh, Stormflies is saying hello in the YouTube chat. Great to see you, Stormfly. I know you couldn't make it this week. Obviously, if you're at home, you can always jump on quickly because you could join the back of the grid, and you know you can fight through from the back. I'm sure you'd have been in top. Stormfly saying he would have had top 10 pace. I would have had top 10 pace because there's only 9 cars, and I'm horribly slow. So I'm not really sure that's a big claim. Okay, Stormfly, you're winding me up. I'm not gonna. If you're not gonna race, I'm not gonna talk to you. So, who's doing what? As I keep an eye out, Chicken Paxo's going even quicker. Look at that, 1:42.6. Now, I think that's roughly where his first qualifying time was. So, I would be surprised if he's got much more than that. Oh! He's trying a little bit too hard there round at Clubhouse, and he was off and into the hedge. So, or nearly into the hedge. So, I think that's possibly him pushing it to the limit, because I'd imagine that's gone outside track limit, so deleted that lap. So he's got one more go. Marge is deciding to stay in the pits at the moment. So who else is likely to do something? I can't see. Nobody else is below 143 at the moment. Bazek's just coming to the line with just 1 minute 15 to go, so this will be them all starting their last lap. So Bazek's there, just 0.6 now off pole. Who else we've got coming through now? And they're not put. Oh, Chicken Paxo going through. No, he's not going any quicker because I think he was outside of. Oh, I was hoping that was Simo coming around to put a lap in, but unfortunately he's taken the slightly scenic route there at Crocodile, so that's him lost that lap. So he's got one more chance, 40 seconds to go, so just needs to keep it between the lines, a bit like colouring when you're a kid. So Brownster's up there in second at the moment. He's just on a 143 flat, so he's got that McLaren up to the front. So he's got one more chance though, because qualifying time is still live. Chris V Dub just going across the line there. He's still in 7th. So who else have we got coming to the line there? Rusty GT, can he do any better? He's currently 6th. Oh, he can. He's up to 5th. He's in front of DB Kung, and DB Kung's in the pit. So great lap there by Rusty GT. The time has run out, so it's just down to what drivers on the track can do. Here comes Bazek's. He's just coming out of Crocodile down to Cheetah. I'll get these corners right in a minute. Can he do anything quicker? Chicken Paxo is out on track still, but he's obviously got the fastest time at the moment. So Bazek's across the line there, and he goes pole. A 142.5, and he gives a little bit of a celebratory wiggle there. So just 0.063 quicker than Chicken Paxo. So Chicken Paxo pulls into the pits, so he's done. So the only one that's out there, Rusty GT's pulling to a halt. So the only one that's still going out there for a lap time is Chris V Dub, but he is going a bit sideways. Oh, unfortunately, Simo there, he's on the grass at the side of the track there, so he hasn't got a lap that's going to count. So Chris V Dub needs to find about 0.6 of a second, and I think he needs to go a bit less Tokyo drift. Oh, it's good to watch. Oh no, and he's into the pit, so that's it. So Bazuk steals pole position right at the death there. We weren't expecting that one. Chicken Paxo was way ahead of the field, had one hand on that pole position, but then Bazuk came along and stamped on his hand. So that was that. So Chicken Paxo lines up alongside on the front row. Let's just get this right before we have a mess up again. Chicken Paxo was alongside him on the front row there. Brownster and Banff make row 2. Rusty GT, DB Kung are your row 3. Rusty GT with that 5th place. I imagine he's going to be quite chuffed with that. Just 1.3 off pole. And then Chris V Dub and it's showing me Lager on row 4. Don't think that's right. It's Chris V Dub and Marge. And then Simo is there on row 5. So here we go. We've got a 20-minute race. This is a lights to flag. There's no pit stop requirement. So if I end up in the pits, something has gone wrong. And we know from first time round the front pack were very close. And interesting, looks like it, but Banff I don't think has possibly got a lap that's that representative, because I think he was quicker than that in the first race qualifying. But of course the thing we've got with this second one is we're at night, and so we can get that fantastic view out across Johannesburg even as they go around the top end of the circuit. Now one factor this will bring into play is that temperatures are going to be lower, so needs to make sure that drivers have got their temperature settings, pressure settings right on their tyres. Otherwise they will fall out of the ideal temperature for their tyres, and that will mess up their grip. So this could be a real shake up of the grid on this one. I think anyone within at least the top 4 has got a chance of winning this. DB Kung might come through. I would expect him to be quicker in qualifying there. He's normally the fastest Ferrari. But interesting that we've got Bazuk's on pole rather than Chicken Paxo this time. So he's got the inside line going down to turn 1. So I'm sure he will be looking to defend that. And we know Brownster in that McLaren is quick, and Banff, of course, in the second Bentley, he is also quick. So we're going to see some good battles. Oh, we've got compliments from Donardi and Stormfly on that lap by Bazux in the YouTube chat. If you want to get involved, be interested to hear your predictions on who is going to win.
20 seconds.
I wouldn't like to make a commitment because any one of those top 4, I believe, could win. Oh, everyone flashing their lights, getting all excited. So just 10 seconds to go before we start off on our warm-up lap. Just reminded, 20-minute race, lights to flag. And we are rolling. Or we should be rolling. I hope we're going to be rolling. If we don't roll, something's gone wrong. We are rolling. We can all breathe a IT sigh of relief there that everything is still working as it should be. Chicken Paxo proving that the flasher button works, so he's obviously doing everything he can to irritate Bazux. Personally, for me, I'd brake check him so he broke his lights, but you know that's not the way we race at Race Club, which is why I'm commentating and not racing. So the other thing, of course, stating the obvious, is with these dark conditions, it just makes it that little bit more difficult to exactly pick out your turning point and your apex and so on. So it's very easy to just make little mistakes which turn into big problems. You just turn in a little bit late and you can't make the apex, and then you're wide on the apex, and then you're wide on the exit and you cross the gravel, and either you spin on the grass or you hit the wall, or you maybe just get away with it. I'm sure these drivers are fully aware of that and will be doing their utmost not to make those mistakes. So just seeing if we've got any predictions coming in on who's going to win. I'm not seeing anything as yet. Oh, just had some chat in the drivers chat. Let's have a look. I'm just trying to see. Oh, somebody had a TV standby alert come up, which is caused them a little bit of a problem on their viewing. If it blanks out where you are, that can be obviously a little bit disconcerting. And Lager is just he unfortunately can't join us for the 20-minute race. I'm just trying to see what he got hit by some kind of lag problem. He sent me a video which I'm watching. I'm trying to pay attention to multiple things which can of course go horribly wrong. It looks like Marge, I think, possibly had some. There was connection issue either Marge or Lager, and the driver the car reappeared somewhere where weren't expecting to, so Lager got taken out, so that was the end of his race. But we're back on this for race 2 of round 10 of Race Club. I'm Trevor Rolfe, and we are ready to go. Green, green, green.
Green light, go, go, go.
So that's Bazix on your right, and it's Chicken Paxo on the left, going side by side down towards turn 1. But look at that, Banff is coming through. The two Bentleys go each side of the Audi, and then who is that down the inside? That's the Browns down the inside of the McLaren. So it looked like Chicken Paxo got absolutely mugged there. A little bit of action in the background there, but Chicken Paxo, he was second, he's now fourth. And it looks like the two Bentleys are 1-2 at the moment. The Bazix is in the lead. Now that looks like Chicken Paxo trying to come back on Brownster. It looks like he's got in front of him as they're coming up towards Sunset. And yeah, Chicken Paxo's got the move done there on Brownster. But the two Bentleys are away really quickly. And the one that is really keeping up there, and I'm very impressed with, is Rusty GT there in 5th. Because I don't know what's happened behind, but there's quite a gap. We'll have to look back at that one in a minute. We'll just keep a look at this battle for the lead as the drivers come up towards the top end of the circuit. So it looks like Chicken Paxo is making a little bit of an escape there from the Brownster. Oh, and Banff made a mistake there up at the top of the circuit, and as they head down towards Mineshaft, Chicken Paxo is through. So after a couple of horrible corners there, Chicken Paxo has got himself from second on the grid down to 4th, and then he got himself back up the field with a neat manoeuvre around the Brownster, and then Banff made a mistake there, and oh, look at the background there, you can see Banff making another mistake, hitting the inside curb there, but Chicken Paxo there's got himself up to second place. So it's now the same battle we had in race 1, which was Bazix and Chicken Paxo, but this time round Bazix has got a little bit of a getaway. So let's just move back. So Brownster's currently 4th, dropped off by about a second there from Banff, who was 3rd, but the one that I said I was really impressed with and still am is Rusty GT there, who is hanging on to this lead pack. He's clinging on the back there of Brownster at the moment, so fingers crossed he can keep it on the straight and narrow, because it's a really impressive performance there by Rusty GT, running there in 5th place at the moment. So we've got one car heading towards, is it in the pit lane? No, that's Simo, who's a little bit off the back of the field at the moment. So we've just got a little bit of a gap there behind Rusty GT at the moment, about 3.5 seconds, so back to Chris V Dub. And just behind him is DB Kung, who had dropped a little bit back from his starting position. So I could see a little bit of kerfuffle there at Crowthorne, the first corner on lap 1. But it looks like everyone's sort of settled out into the positions I would expect them to be, maybe apart from DB Kung, who I would possibly think would be in front, probably of Chris V Dub and Rusty GT. But Rusty GT, having been right on the back of that pack of 4, has just dropped off a little bit. But it looks like Brownster is now in the yellow McLaren there, giving the Bentley a bit of a hard time, and that Bentley belongs to Banff. So can Brownster do anything as they head down towards turn 1? You see Rusty GT just coming over the crest there in the background, being pursued by Chris V Dub and DB Kung. So I'll keep an eye on that battle, because I think that's one that is going to bubble up as the laps get clicked away. Remember, we've only got 20 minutes in this race and we've had 4 of them already, so we're nearly a quarter of the way through this race. So I'm just going to move ourselves out to a slightly different camera view, so bear with me 1 second. Thank you for that slight interruption. So what can Brownster do here about Banff? So both of these drivers, I think, in the first race made a little mistake, and Brownster makes a little mistake there on the exit of Clubhouse, and he just runs wide across the grass street and grass itself. And just hopping back up to the front, Chicken Paxo on screen there in second place is dropping a bit away there from Bazix. So the gap's about 2 seconds. Let's see, it's going to get an update here. Yeah, it's still 2 seconds. So I thought Chicken Paxo would have been on the back of Bazix a little bit quicker than that. So maybe with these cooler conditions, Chicken Paxo is struggling, because Bazix there does seem to be making a good exit at the moment. So let's go back to this battle 4. I'm actually going to go back one, because there's a battle here between 3 drivers. So at the front of this, you've got Rusty GT in the white and grey Ferrari, then the green Porsche of Chris V Dub, who is right under the rear wing of that Ferrari, and just waiting in the background is DB Kung. So this one's getting really lively as they head down through the kink towards Crowthorne. Can Chris V Dub do anything about that Ferrari in front? Oh, DB Kung looking possibly for a bit of an opportunity there at the left-hander. As DB Kung got it done, they're heading up towards Barbecue. Yes, that really is a corner name at this circuit. This one here is Barbecue. So now it looks like Chris V Dub has dropped a bit off Rusty GT there, and is now coming on the pressure from DB Kung. So DB Kung there in the blue Ferrari. Chris all sideways there in the green Porsche. So has that given DB Kung a little bit of an opportunity? No, it hasn't. So here we go, round Clubhouse, down towards the S's. DB Kung still pressurising Chris V Dub there, but Rusty GT using this as an opportunity to escape. Tell you what, we're going to hop on board with DB Kung. Look at that, fantastic shots here. And there we go, Johannesburg over there in the distance. Look at that, fantastic, lit up at night there, absolutely beautiful. Not good for the carbon footprint, but looks beautiful. So, back down the hill. There we go. Round Crocodile, just taking a bit of curb there. Oh, and someone off of the track there. I think that was Simo. So we all carefully steered ourselves around that sleeping policeman there. Oh, Chris V Dub looking a little bit deep there, but seems to have kept it within the lines. Here we screen down the main straight. Just having a look, we've got comments on YouTube. Interestingly, in fact, I hadn't picked on Dan's mentioning that, oh, I thought we were going to have a look at the inside there. Looks like Chris V Dub's running a bit wide. We've caught up a little bit as DB Kung. But we're at altitude here, and the cool air as well will help the non-turbo cars with a few extra horsepower, so that should shake up the order there. So here we go, round Sunset. Can we get a bit better exit here, do something at the clubhouse? I'm just trying to keep an eye on what's happening in the rest of the field, and at the moment it looks like it's all fairly stable. We will just make sure we don't look away from that one too much, but Chicken Paxo has halved the gap to Bazix, so it was just on the 2 seconds. It was down to 1.1. It's back up to 1.2, but it's still remarkably close. Brownster still keeping a good watching brief there on Banff, but there's still a 1.2 second gap, so I'm going to shoot back. Oh, and just as we see it livening up to this battle here for 5th, 6th and 7th, Rusty GT still keeping in front of DB Kung and Chris V Dub. And Chris V Dub coming under massive pressure here from DB Kung, but he's still fending him off. And just to remind you, Chris V Dub's not using one of these big posh race rigs with steering wheels and pedals. He's using your basic PlayStation hand controller. So this is a stunning job, as we just clicked down under 11 minutes to go. DB Kung sweeping out wide there as they come through the kink. He's alongside Chris V Dub. It looks like he's used the slipstream to his advantage. Can Chris V Dub come back on the undercut as they come out of the corner? No, it looks like DB Kung's got that move done. Let's head up around Barbecue. This is probably Chris V Dub's last chance to fight back for that 6th position. But no, it looks like DB Kung has got that one done. So his next target up the road is going to be Rusty GT there in the white and grey even Ferrari. So I would imagine it's going to take him a couple of laps to catch Rusty there, because there's about 2.2 seconds there, so he's slightly reliant on Rusty making a mistake for that to close any quicker. But
You're halfway through, keep pushing.
Talking of closing, we've got Chicken Paxo just 0.982 of a second behind Bazix. So he's brought that gap down from 2 seconds down to 1, and it's now down to 0.9. Donardi commenting on this excellent stuff by Rusty so far. I 100% agree with you, Donardi. I think it's absolutely brilliant what Rusty's doing. He's really coming on the pace as this season is moving on. So, and he seems to be holding that gap back to DB Kung at the moment, which is great to see. But I just do have this fear that DB Kung is going to wind him in, but he's got to get on with it. There's only 9 minutes remaining. So I think where the next battle is going to bubble up is right here at the front, with Bazix there in the lead and with Chicken Paxo just behind. So we'll go on board and look back from the Bentley of Bazix towards Chicken Paxo in second place. So that gap has been chipped away, and we know from the first race these two were so balanced in times just until about 2 laps to go, because Bazix was running out of fuel. Oh, unfortunately Simo's had to go to the pit, so he's a little bit behind on pace, so I don't think that's going to affect the overall outcome. So just had a comment there from Delani, I quite agree with it, and I think we've got other newcomers saying what newcomers can do in Race Club is just take your time and build your pace. And I think another good example of that is VR46, who has not been able to join us tonight, but I saw him come from another race series in on a different simulation, and I knew he was a quick driver, and I was quite surprised. Initially he was a little bit off the pace, but he's really come on strong and is now winning races. So, you know, Race Club is a brilliant grounding for all abilities, so that gives, you know, people who maybe not quite on the pace that chance just to build themselves up towards the front there, and the great example we've got of that tonight is with Rusty GT. So let's go back to Rusty GT, hanging on to that 5th place. DB Kung with 7.5 minutes to go got the gap down to under a second. So they're both there in the Ferrari, so apart from setup there shouldn't be any differential between the two drivers, between the two cars. So it is literally down to setup and driving. So, and with just a 20-minute race, there shouldn't be a massive amount of tyre wear coming into play, so they should be reasonably content with the grip level that they're going to have through this race. Oh, Rusty just running a little bit wide there. That will just cost him a fraction of a second. I'm just going to hop on board with, I think, with Rusty, and we are going to look back from Rusty to DB Kung, because I think if DB Kung is going to do anything, and the gap is just half a second now, it will be towards that first corner, which is where he managed to overtake Chris V Dub. So as we head down, here we go, through Mineshaft down towards Crocodile. This is the safe one of these two right-handed. Oh, and we've gone wide, unfortunately, and it looks like, oh, I thought DB Kung had got the move done there, but Rusty had, oh no, we've all gone a little bit sideways. He's scabbed it up, but unfortunately you can see there in front, disappearing into the distance, is DB Kung. So unfortunately that battle has fallen in the direction of DB Kung. Rusty GT was doing absolutely brilliant there and should be really proud. With just over 5 minutes remaining, he was hanging on to that 5th position. So, talking of hanging on to positions, Bazux has now pulled out a gap on Chicken Paxo. Now, whether that was increased speed from... Bazux has pulled out on Chicken Paxo. Now, whether that was increased speed from Bazux or a mistake from Chicken Paxo, I don't know. But with just 5 minutes 12 remaining, I don't see Chicken Paxo bridging that gap unless there's an issue from Bazux's side. So I'm just trying to quickly fag pack at how many laps, and I think it's going to be 3 at the end of this one. So Chicken Paxo's going to have to go half a second quicker, half a second a lap quicker, and overtake Bazux within that time. So I think that's going to be a bit of a big ask. So subject to mistakes, Bazux could have this one in the bag. So here we go, round the final corner, just looking down to see if we've got any gaps which are likely to close up. The only one or the closest one we've got further down is Chris V Dub, who's only 1.8 behind Rusty. But I think that gap has been fairly consistent, and looks like they were both kicking up the dirt a little bit there. So actually we may, we have got, I was right, we've got 3 laps to go. So I think we'll concentrate on this battle for the lead, because Chicken Paxo's got that gap back down to 1.2, now he's got the gap down to 0.8. So maybe he did have a little bit of a mistake there from Chicken Paxo, because having dropped back nearly 2 seconds, he suddenly caught the gap back up down, or got the gap down to 0.8 with just, I think, 2.5 laps to go. So this could boil up to a great finish here, so don't go anywhere. And just as this boiling up, just remind you, 2 more races this season, both on a Tuesday night. We've got Silverstone for you next week, and that will be in the wet, and that's a double header 20 and 40 minute race. And then the following week we've got our grand finale of the season, which is Bathurst, which will be a 2-hour endurance race with multiple pit stops, so that's not one to miss. So here we go, down to Crocodile, and then through this slight kink to Cheetah, just to complete the lap. So Chicken Paxo hadn't made any inroads in that middle sector. He got the gap down to 0.8. Visually that looks less than 0.8. Hopefully Bazux has put enough fuel in it this time to make the end of that, and the gap's down to half a second. So 2 laps to go. Can Chicken Paxo do anything about that car in front of him. Oh, he's looking to the inside there at that first corner. Oh, Chicken Paxo's got it all a little bit sideways, but it looked like Bazix was a bit scrappy as well. So I think it's all evens for them as they go through barbecue. They'll come up to the first timing sector. And the gap is 0.3. You can see visually how close it is. So I don't see, unless Bazix makes a mistake round this clubhouse section, that Chicken Paxo won't be able to do anything. I think his only chance, because we're coming around to start the last lap, will be into turn 1. So he's going to need to be under the back wing of that Bentley in front of him as they start the final lap. So down through those two quick right-handers, he's going to have to get right onto the back of Bazix. So I don't think this one is quite over yet, and this is typical of race club racing, that it's all boils up as the racers come towards their sort of final laps. We always seem to get a good end of race battle. So gaps out to 0.46 around this last section. Can Chicken Paxo do anything? Oh, he's having half a look on the inside there, and Bazix went defensive, and now he's gone deep, so I think that's compromised him. But Chicken Paxo is still behind, but he's right under the rear wing of the Bentley as they head down towards the kink. This is it. This is the last lap. Chicken Paxo looking to the inside at Crowthorne. He's almost there. He is there. Can he get it stopped? Can Bazix hold on round the outside? Possibly he's had. They're going to head up towards barbecue. Chicken Paxo's got it done. Fantastic last lap manoeuvre. I don't see how Bazix can come back from that one. There's nowhere logically on the lap, unless Chicken Paxo makes a mistake, he can get that lead back. But great driving there by both of them, but particularly by Chicken Paxo. Got a great exit from that last corner, having compromised Bazix a little bit by showing his nose, and then just tucked under the rear wing of that Bentley and got him into turn 1. But I don't think Bazix has given this one up. As they go up to the top, can he do anything? Can he do a dive down the inside here? It looks like Chicken Paxo going slightly defensive. You can possibly do something here. Chicken Paxo's entry's compromised because he's having to go defensive. So Bazix trying to do something there around the outside. I don't think that's possible as they head down through Mineshaft. The only possible chance Bazix has is into the final corner. As they go round Crocodile, this is the one. This could have a mistake. Someone takes a chunk out of that inside curve, but they're both good on it. Chicken Paxo dipped a wheel into the gravel a little bit there, down to the last corner. I think Chicken Paxo's got this done. Oh, and Bazix just made a little bit of a mistake there, but Chicken Paxo crosses the line to win, with Bazix in second place. Great racing by the pair of them there. In third comes through Banff, and closely followed by the Brownster, who wasn't able to make any inroads into Banff after those first couple of laps. Round the final corner comes DB Kung, worked his way by Chris V Dub and Rusty GT. And then Rusty GT, unfortunately we were concentrating on that front row battle, but Chris V Dub has got past Rusty GT, who finishes 7th. Rusty GT, fantastic race there, I would say, by him. I think he should be really proud. He was up battling at the front to start with and was holding off those drivers really effectively. And then Marge coming through in 8th. Unfortunately, I haven't given Marge much. Oh, Tokyo Drift there. Oh, and the other way. Hold it, son. Oh, into the gravel. And unfortunately, I haven't given Marge too much screen time in this second race, but we just had so much going on elsewhere, I couldn't really sort of look round to see what else was going on. So Marge will just come round to follow, complete their final lap, work their way down the hill towards the finishing line. Of course, I hope you've all enjoyed watching us here on Race Club tonight. I've been Trevor Rolfe, but if you want to hear more from me and from Race Club, then you can always find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We're if you'd like to click that like and subscribe button, that would be absolutely fantastic, so you can get reminders and you can show your appreciation of what we do here at Race Club UK. So here we go, Marge round the final corner and up towards the finishing line there. And into the wall. And that's your deposit lost on that one. So, just a reminder, our winner there was Chicken Paxo, and I think they're all supposed to have gone into the pit lane, but they missed the pit lane, so I don't know if anybody else is doing spinny things. No, someone's done a spinny thing into the pit wall. So no, that is it for us for tonight. So that is your top three there. Chicken Paxo with that great last lap manoeuvre into Crowthorne. Brilliant stuff, is what we like to see here. Overtook Bazix, who finishes second, and Banff was in third. So another great race there tonight. Just remind you, this was round 10 of Race Club. Next week will be round 11 and then round 12 the following week for our season finale. So be great to see you back there again. In the meantime, everyone out there, stay safe and hope to see you soon.